Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Scott Seidenberg back here with you. Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Off to a good start in our Padres team total, over 4.5 runs. In the bottom of the first inning, the Padres got a solo home run from Fernando Tatis Jr., a 1-0 lead for the Padres in the top of the second there in San Diego. Just 4 more runs from the Padres. That's all we need to cash this one. Elsewhere, Brewers, a 2-0 lead over the Diamondbacks. Bottom of the third inning, Diamondbacks do have a runner on first base with nobody out. Angels are still shutting out the Astros 4-0, top of the 7th inning, but Houston's got a hit, so congratulations. They have 1 hit on the game. And the Reds with a 5-2 lead over the Pirates, top of the 9th, 1 out, as they're looking to close out that game. Your finals from earlier, Tigers blanked the Twins 4-0. Was the Phillies a 4-1 win over the Cardinals. Yankees double up the Giants 8-4. Orioles edge the Blue Jays 5-4. The A's a win over the Mets 3-1. Braves beat the Rays 5-4. Marlins over the Nationals 7-6. White Sox win their second straight against the Red Sox 3-2. The Guardians a 6-3 win over the Royals. And we are waiting to see, and it is a final now. I think the Reds did close out that game. So that game has gone final. The Reds getting their 5-2 victory over the Pirates there. Important to keep an eye on these results. And once we are through the remainder of these games, or for the most part, the remainder of these games coming up in our final hour, I'm going to get to some MLB trends that I've been tracking this season when it comes to sweeps. That's right. I'll give you a hint. We're talking about sweeps. And so days like Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays can be very good, profitable days taking advantage of some of these trends, especially when it comes to a getaway day situation. Also, Sunday night fades going into Monday. Lots to get into. We'll get into all those MLB trends coming up a little bit later on here in the program. About 30 minutes from now, we'll talk more UFC 314 with Rohit Ponnaiya joining us from Covers. Still to come, Dana Lane from Pick Dogs will join us on the program, and Sam Chaduri from FTN will join us on the program as well. Masters. Here's where we are right now. Rory McIlroy is your leader after 3 rounds with his 12 under par. Bryson DeChambeau is in second at 10 under. And then Corey Connors is at 8 under par. Your updated odds, Rory a minus 200 favorite to win this event and complete the career Grand Slam. Bryson DeChambeau, he is next at plus 250. Now, listen, you could bet Rory at minus 200. I'm not going to tell you not to. I have 2 tickets on Rory to win the Masters already, so I'm not going in any further. But a bet that we talked about earlier that I really do love, shop around your various sports books to see if your book offers final round props. And what we're looking for here on the final round is we're looking to bet Rory's score. So BetMGM has this. It is Rory to shoot 70 or less in the 4th round of the Masters. And that bet is at even money. You can go to my Twitter page at Scott's On Air, SCOTTSONAIR. I quote tweeted our good friend Jared Smith, who had tweeted this bet out yesterday when he bet it for round 3 of the Masters, Rory to shoot 70 or lower, and it was minus 110 odds. And I retweeted it and I said, this is an incredible bet. It's at even money for round 4. That's a bet that I would look at because let's be honest here. Rory's not winning this Masters without shooting 70 or less tomorrow. If he shoots a 71 or a par 72 or he shoots over par, someone's going to catch him. It may be Bryson. It may be someone else behind him. Like, you could see a guy like a Ludwig Oberg shooting a 6 under for a 6 under 66 for his final round, finishing at 12 under par. You could see, a Patrick Reed or a Corey Connors having a good round and finishing at 10 or 11 under. And Bryson could certainly go 12 to 14 under, whatever it is. Rory's going to have to break par here and have to put up a number in order to win this and hold off Bryson and the rest of the field. He shot a 70, and why wouldn't he, by the way? He shot a 72 in round one because he slipped up at the end. He was 4 under par through 14 holes. And a double bogey on 15 and a double bogey on 17 drew him even for the first round. And then he shoots a 66 in the second round with 1 eagle, and he shoots a 66 in round 2 with 2 eagles on his scorecard. So despite bogeying 8 and 10, he still, thanks to those 2 eagles, made those strokes back, finished with the 66, and is 12 under for the tournament. We're asking Rory to shoot 70 or below in round 4. To me, it's a great bet, especially at even money. I love that bet. I know the pin position is going to be a little bit harder on the 4th round. They're going to mess with the players a little bit. They're going to put the pin positions in more difficult places. I still think Rory is playing the best golf of his career, and he should be able to complete this. I like Rory to win, but instead of betting a minus 200, I think it's a really good correlation to bet this at even money. Because as I mentioned, I don't think Rory wins if he doesn't shoot 70 or below. And I don't think many golf experts out there would disagree that Rory has to shoot a 70 or less in order to win. So rather than laying minus 200, look for that bet at even money. Again, MGM offers it, but check your sports book to see if your book offers round 4 props. And a fun bet, we talked about this earlier with our golf guest, Jeff Seeley, a fun bet on round 4, it's up at DraftKings right now, the most birdies or better, so Eagles count, but the most birdies in round 4. Ludwig Åberg is 22-1 to have the most birdies in round 4. Tom Hoge, who's a golfer that Jeff Seeley talked about as could potentially rack up a bunch of birdies, he's at 55-1 to have the most birdies on the final round. And it's crazy because, like, if you look at what happened today, like, Hoge had a bunch of birdies, but a bunch of bogeys as well that made his card not look so great. But we don't care about bogeys. This betting market does not care about bogeys. It's just about the birdies. And so, let's look at what did Åberg do today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies from Åberg. And let's see, Hoge had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 birdies. I mean, Rory had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you count the Eagles as well. So Rory had 6. Bryson had 2, 4, 6. Connors only had 4. Reed had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jason Day had 3. Lowry had 4. Scheffler only had 2. Justin Rose only had 2. Zach Johnson had 6. Xander Schauffele had 5. Colin Morikawa had 2. It's a fun market. Again, you're not going to do a full unit bet on this, but Scheffler and Rory are your favorites at plus 1,300. Xander at 20-1. Jon Rahm 20-1. Bryson 20-1. I mentioned Åberg at 22-1. Hovland 25-1. And then, you want to take an even longer shot. Tom Hoge, who did have 6 birdies here on round 3, 55-1. Fun little bets here for round 4 of the Masters. Maybe you're out of it with your futures ticket. You had somebody that's completely out of it, so you can take a little, a fun stab at one of these tournament props that you could take a look at here. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Live Bet Saturday here on VSiN, the sports betting network. Keeping an eye on our Major League Baseball bets in progress right now. We got NHL coming up a little bit later on, so we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with our nighttime bets. We got the night slate, 3 games starting at the top of the hour, about 50 minutes from now. Wild, Canucks, Predators, Knights, and Blues and Kraken in progress right now. Still no score between the Canadiens and the Leafs, scoreless in the third period. The Jets have come all the way back from down 2-0 against the Blackhawks to take a 3-2 lead in the third period, and Utah and Dallas going back and forth. It is now a 2-2 game. It was 1-1 after 1. We're at 2-2 here in the second period. And our Major League Baseball bets in progress. Brewers top of the fourth inning with a 2-0 lead over the Diamondbacks, so we feel good about our first 5 bets so far. We got 2 more innings left to go. And the Padres did not score in the bottom of the second inning, so they lead 1-0 against the Rockies. We also have the Dodgers team total over 4.5 as well, and it is scoreless in the top of the first inning. They just got underway there in LA, the Dodgers and the Cubs. Still to come, Rangers and Mariners from Seattle. Want to know where the real money is going? Unlike other sources, our betting splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings Sportsbooks, giving you the insight into where the sharp action is landing. Circa is known for taking big bets from professional bettors, while DraftKings provides a broader market perspective. That means you're getting the real action, not just the public money, but the kind of wagers that move lines. You can see the percentage of bets versus the percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get VSiN's summer special right now for only $59 until August 1st at vsin.com/subscribe. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is Live Bet Saturday right here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back here on Live Bet Saturday, I'm Scott Seidenberg, always on Twitter at Scott's On Air. You can hit me up there. You can hit us up on the network at VSiN Live. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we'll talk some more UFC 314. Joining us from covers will be Rohit Ponnaiya. We'll get his best bets on the matchups tonight, especially the 2 main events. We got Paddy Pimblett against Michael Chandler and Alexander Volkanovski against Diego Lopez. So those 2 fights coming up in the main event card. I'm going to be on both favorites. I know it's like kind of really chalky and not much analysis going into it, but I can't see Paddy losing. I think that he is the big payday now for the UFC. I just find it hard to see him lose. Granted, Chandler's great. And he certainly is a showman. But I think Chandler tries to put on a show, and Paddy's going to get to him. Maybe even Paddy by submission could be an interesting way to get at it. But I do like Paddy, and I do like Volk here. But we'll get Rohit's bets coming up in just a few moments. Bottom of the fourth inning, the Diamondbacks got a leadoff double, so they have a runner on second with nobody out. Brewers a 2-0 lead over the Diamondbacks. We are sweating out Milwaukee in the first 5 innings at plus a half a run. Really nice job by Corbin Burnes to settle down after the struggles in the second inning. He had bases loaded with nobody out. Only 2 runs allowed in that inning. 1 run prior to the bases being loaded, but only 2 runs allowed in that entire second inning. Just a tremendous way for him to get out of that jam. Right now, your live betting market, the Brewers are a minus 175 favorite, Diamondbacks plus 135, and your live total is at 7.5. But again, the Brewers, the Diamondbacks do have a runner on base here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Going to the bottom of the third in San Diego, Padres with a 1-0 lead over the Rockies. We have the Padres team total over 4.5 runs, so we'll certainly like some more runs here. The live total has been pushed down now to 6.5. We liked the total, as well as our guest did, to go over 8 in this game. The reason why we took the Padres side of it is because I trust the Padres bats a lot more than I trust the Rockies bats. Plus, the Rockies bullpen is terrible. Rockies starting pitcher Chase Dollander has not had a good start to his season. So I lean towards the Padres scoring those runs as opposed to the Rockies. Could it get there? Sure, it could get there, and the Rockies could contribute. But right now, going to the bottom of the third inning, to see a reduced price here at over 6.5, I don't hate jumping in live here on an over 6.5, if we're being honest. Minus 130, live total, over 6.5. I'd take a look at that bet now. Now, baseball, you got to get them in between the innings here. So you got to place it now before we get Dollinger to pitch in this bottom of the third. I don't have the game on my TV, so I don't know where we are right now. I'm just looking at the score. But that would be something that I would keep an eye on. I think you got a nice little reduced price here on the total. Instead of 8, we got over 6.5 as we are just in the bottom of the third inning. That would be one that I would keep an eye on. And let's see. Let's just take a look at what the weather is going to be doing throughout the course of this evening here in San Diego. It's going to get cooler as the night moves on, and if the wind is in fact blowing out and gets a little stronger as the night goes on, I absolutely love taking a live over here. Let's see. Looks like wind blowing out, and out. Wind does decrease as the night moves on, but the temperature does get cooler. So we'll see if that has an effect on the teams. Right now, the second highest bullpen ERA in all of Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies, at 6.44. Second highest bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball. Your number one lowest bullpen ERA, San Diego Padres, at 1.59. So Padres right now, bottom of the third inning, they are batting, and I do like a live over of 6.5 because I leaned towards the over before the game started. I am on the Padres team total over 4.5, but I would buy in right now on the live over 6.5, now juiced up to minus 140 up on DraftKings. Live total in the Cubs-Dodgers game. It is the bottom of the first inning, and the Cubs got a runner on first base with one out. Your live total in this one is at right now 8.5. And hey, Padres just got a runner on to lead off the bottom of the third. So get in now while you can on this over 6.5. I would love a big inning from the Padres here to try and make me feel a little bit better about my team total over 4.5. Just get me a couple of runs here and start chipping away at that 4.5 total. And for the Dodgers as well, bottom of the first inning would be great if they can score a couple of runs here in the bottom of the first and work their way towards the 4.5 total that we played. The Diamondbacks have something cooking here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Runners on first and third with only one out. Brewers still lead 2-0 over the Diamondbacks. There is one out, as I mentioned, though, so a double play gets you out of this inning. Even a sac fly, I'll take that because just give me the out. I'll sacrifice the run for the out in this spot because I do have the Brewers plus a half a run in the first 5 innings. So I'd rather have the second out of the inning. Not so worried about giving up one run. 2-1 score going to the fifth. I'll take it. Having that cushion of the tie gives me the win at plus a half a run. So the out, to me, more important than the run. Ground ball would be ideal, obviously. Get a double play and get out of the whole inning. But if it is a sac fly, I'll accept it, trade the run for one out. Let's take a look at a live total right now between the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. It is up to 7.5. Your live total with the Diamondbacks having something cooking here in the bottom of the fourth inning. All right, let's go Padres to get us a run here. That would be great. We got one out with a runner on first, and Tatis is up. So Dodgers do have a runner on second with nobody out. Ohtani did steal second, so cash that if you had Ohtani with a stolen base prop. He stole second here in the bottom of the first inning. And 20 minutes from now, we will get underway with the start to the Rangers and Mariners game. And we are on the under combined hits plus runs plus errors under 24. This is a game where we lean towards the under 7 for the game in general. We got a pitcher in Brian Woo, who is great at home, has tremendous home numbers. And I think Rocker has improved a lot since the struggles in his first start. We're going to go, these are two of the lowest scoring teams in all of Major League Baseball. We like the under in general for the game, but to give a little bit of cushion, instead of playing an under 7, to give a little bit of a cushion, we go with the under combined hits plus runs plus errors at under 24. Weather in this game, 53 degrees, a feel-like temperature of 48 degrees with the wind blowing in slightly 5.4 miles per hour. And Seattle, if you just look at ballpark factors this year, there's a reason why this is the lowest scoring team in baseball. This is the lowest scoring ballpark right now this season in Major League Baseball. So let's go under hits plus runs plus errors, under 24. Mariners and Rangers starting in about 20 minutes or so from now. As a reminder, you can take VSiN with you wherever you go, whether you're at home, on the road. Now there's more ways than ever to tune into VSiN. You can stream us live on vsin.com. You can watch the VSiN Watch app or watch us on YouTube TV, listen on iHeartRadio, Fire TV, Roku, or SiriusXM. Channel 158, always available for you there 24/7 on VSiN right here. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is Live Bet Saturday here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Coming up, we have a couple of NHL games that will tip off at the top, or the puck will drop, at the top of the hour. Wild at the Canucks, Predators at the Golden Knights, Blues at the Kraken. And I've been deciding what to play on these night games. I lean towards the Vancouver Canucks at home against the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota coming off of a bad loss last night in Calgary. But this is a team playing with desperation. Both Minnesota and St. Louis are tied in the standings for both the first and second wild cards in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, Calgary is right on their heels, 3 points back. So any points here for Minnesota and St. Louis will go a long way into improving their chances to get into the postseason. The one thing that goes against them is that St. Louis has a game in hand. Actually, 2 games in hand. Calgary. Calgary has only played 79 games. This will be tonight for Minnesota and St. Louis, their 81st game. So there's only a maximum of 4 points that they can get over tonight and their next game. That means the best record that they can finish with is 97 points. But Calgary's got 3 games left. Calgary can finish with 96 points. If they win their next 3 games in regulation, if they win their next 3 games, they'll get 96 points. So every win, every point matters for Minnesota and St. Louis. Maybe we just play both playoff teams tonight. Or maybe we fade both playoff teams tonight. Probably the better angle is to play both of the playoff teams, Minnesota and St. Louis, to secure their spots, or at least inch closer to securing their spots. Let's get back into UFC 314. Joining us coming up next is Rohit Ponnaiya from Covers. We'll get his best bets for the main events tonight in Miami. I'm Scott Seidenberg, always on Twitter at Scott's On Air. This is Live Bet Saturday right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Back here on Live Bet Saturday, I'm Scott Seidenberg here with you on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We are almost complete with the prelims in Miami, UFC 314. Still one fight to go on the prelims. Dan Ige against Sean Woodson. Woodson a minus 192 favorite. And then we got the main card beginning after that, and that includes the 2 main event fights tonight. Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez for the featherweight title, and then a lightweight bout between Michael Chandler and Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Joining us right now on the Progressive guest line is Rohit Ponnaiya from Covers, the betting analyst there, to talk about UFC 314. And Rohit, first off, before we get into your picks for this card, just your overall assessment of the card. Like when the matches came out, you saw that it was Paddy against Chandler, you saw Volk against Lopez. What was your assessment? How motivated were you to see these fights?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most probably stacked cards of the year. Definitely excited for it. A lot of really interesting matchups. Like you mentioned, you've got these older fighters, tons of experience fighting these younger guys kind of coming up. So a lot of intrigue there. You also have a lot of these striker versus grappler matchups as well. So a lot of intrigue there as well. I mean, it's one of those cards which just seems really well balanced, and we've had some great prelims, and I think the main card's going to definitely match that.
Let's start with the first fight of the main card. Nikita Krylov takes on Dominic Reyes, and Krylov is a minus 155 favorite. Where are you looking in this fight?
Right now, this is a stay away for me. I originally was leaning towards Krylov. The guy has won 3 fights in a row. From a skill standpoint, he's definitely had the edge here. He's well-rounded. I do not trust the chin of of Dominic Reyes at this point. He is coming off back-to-back wins, but that was against the shell of Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby, who has no power. Before that, 3 straight knockout losses. But at the same time, I can't put minus 150 down on Krylov when he hasn't fought in more than 2 years, and he's coming off a pretty bad shoulder injury. So anytime you have that sort of lengthy layoff and an injury, that creates a lot of kind of an unknown commodity with a fighter, and I'm not comfortable laying money with them.
Second fight is Bryce Mitchell against Gene Silva. Silva, a minus 205 favorite. I've actually seen some books go higher on Silva here. What's your take on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, this fight opened with the odds, completely lopsided. I think Silva opened as high as minus 400 on some sites.
Wow.
That was way too wide. I know Mitchell says some dumb things. Still a pretty good fighter. His only losses against Topuria and Josh Emmett. So, I mean, money has come in on him. Makes sense. Right now, you're getting Silva at about minus 200. I do like him at that price. I like Silva to win by knockout. The big thing is that, these guys can't take more than, a few knockouts. If you get knocked out badly, your chin is gone. And that knockout by Emmett was really, really bad for Mitchell. The loss to Topuria, too, he got cracked pretty bad there, then ended up getting subbed there. But there's only so many shots you can eat like that. And now you're facing off against a guy like Jean Silva, who's hungry, who hits so hard. And Silva generates a lot of power with like close contact strikes, punches, elbows, body shots in close. So when Mitchell's trying to get his grappling going, he's still going to be susceptible to getting clocked really hard. So I think Silva manages to hit him pretty hard, manages him to put him out. And you're getting Silva by knockout at about plus 110 right now.
So, I was taking a look at that. Would you lean towards the under 2.5 then?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. It's like if you have a book which does those like fighter to win by decision or fighter to win, inside the distance only, I think there's a lot of value in backing Mitchell, because if this fight does go the distance, I think Mitchell probably grinds out a win. But if you like Silva like me, the under is definitely the play.
Okay, and Silva inside the distance would be a play then. That would be where you're leaning there. All right, let's move on to the next fight on the card. We got Yair Rodriguez as a minus 170 or so favorite against Patricio Pitbull.
Yeah, I mean, this is another, really interesting one. Like I said, kind of those striker grappler matchups. I wouldn't quite put it that way, because Pitbull is a well-rounded guy, but it's a pretty big, step up in competition going from Bellator to the UFC. We've seen a lot of guys try that in the past. And, some guys have done a pretty good job. Chandler, MVP, those guys have been competing hard, but they're still, not what they were in Bellator. And I think we're going to see the same thing here. Yair is a really good fighter, really good striker, especially at distance. Pretty big age difference here. Pitbull is coming in, I think 38 years old. Anytime these fighters in the lower weight classes are coming in their late 30s, there's usually a decent amount of speed they're giving up. Yair is so fast, and Pitbull's going to try to level change. He does have the wrestling to pull off an upset, but at the same time, if he does get the fight to the mat, Yair's got some really good jiu-jitsu as well. So I think Yair's going to get the win here, and you're getting that at a pretty good price right now at about minus 160, minus 170.
Nice. Talking to Rohit Ponnaiya from Covers, joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Live Bet Saturday here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Let's get to the two big fights of the night. Let's start with Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler. You mentioned earlier that we got these older fighters fighting these younger guys. We got an 8-year gap between the 38-year-old Michael Chandler and the 30-year-old Paddy Pimblett. Chandler, to me, he's only fought a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 years or so, because he's been waiting for this McGregor fight that's just never going to happen, or it probably will when they're both in their 40s, but it's just never, we haven't seen it yet. And meanwhile, Paddy, to me, seems like the new moneymaker for Dana White and the UFC. So I was thinking about going over 1.5 on the rounds props, as opposed to maybe betting on a side in this one. But what's your take and best bet for this fight?
I like Paddy when the odds first came out. He was a short underdog, about plus 110. I got him at plus 100, but the money line value is dried up. He's about minus 160 now. I really do like the over 1.5 rounds. A lot of people think this is going to end extremely early. Both aggressive guys, both very hittable. But at the same time, I mean, this is a 5-round fight. We know that, Chandler has a ton of power, but he's also gone the distance. He went the distance against Oliveira, went the distance against Gaethje. We know that Paddy has a pretty good chin there. Scousers don't get knocked out, he claims. But when it comes down to it, the other thing is when he fought Tony Ferguson, he went a little bit too hard early trying to get the finish. he kind of gassed out a bit. He was pretty tired of the next 2 rounds. This is a 5-round fight. I think he's going to be a little bit more measured coming out of the gate here. He's not going to do it all in the first round. So I think you are going to see this go, maybe round 2, 3, 4, but I don't think it's going to end in the first round or the first half of the second round. But as far as bet goes right now, based on the line, I think the value is Chandler by knockout. You're getting that at about 3-1 odds. I mean, I'm really, wary about Pimblett's striking defense. He tends to leave his chin in the air. Chandler has that massive overhand, and we know he carries that power late. We saw that against Oliveira. He was controlled on the mat for the first 4 rounds, and then in the 5th round, he almost pulls off the upset just because he still has that power. He's in such great shape. And like I said, Pimblett says Scousers don't get knocked out, but it's different when you're fighting, over in the UK than when you're coming to the UFC and you're fighting guys in the top 10 who hit like Chandler. He's been cracked before, and if Chandler cracks him, he's putting his lights out.
The one concern I have is that Michael Chandler is such a showman that I feel like he tries to do something that's just going to get the crowd involved as opposed to maybe what the more technical move might be. And then maybe Patty can somehow get him to get him in a submission type hold because Chandler's going for that like highlight reel knockout.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen poor fight IQ from him in the past, and we saw that from Bobby King Green, right? I mean, this was a UFC veteran, and he tried to take Patty down, pretty much walked right into a submission. So that has happened. Definitely a concern I have. But at 3-1 odds, I think there's a pretty good payout for Chandler finding his chin.
Finally, we have the featherweight title bout between Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez, with Volk as a short, actually a pretty increasing favorite here now. He's at minus 162 up on DK. What do you like for this main event?
I'm taking Lopez here. A lot of really interesting line movement in this one because the early money came in on Lopez. I mean, Volk opened at about minus 150. Money came in on Lopez. He was almost a pick 'em. And then all of a sudden we're back to Volk, maybe even being a slightly bigger favorite now. But I do like Lopez in this spot. I mean, I don't want to take away too much from Volk because his losses, those knockout losses, came against Topuria and Makhachev, who are arguably, the 2 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. But there's always lingering long-term effects to getting starched badly like that. And now he's fighting a really dangerous guy in Lopez who fights with a lot of pressure, hits incredibly hard. And when you look at Volk, this is a guy that he is shorter, but he's built really compactly. He used to fight at 170. Those weight cuts to 145 have to be getting draining for him, especially when the fact, he's 36 years old now. So, I mean, that's bad news against a guy like Lopez who hits so hard. Big stat that jumped out at me when I was handicapping this fight is that male fighters that are at least 35 years old in title fights in the welterweight division and below are 3-26 in UFC history.
Wow.
Those 3 victories all at welterweight. One of them was a 35-year-old Tyrone Woodley beating a 40-year-old Damian Maia. So, I mean, Volk, he's one of those lighter weight classes. Skills are important, but so are reflexes and speed. And I don't know if I could trust his chin anymore. So I love Lopez here. And yeah, I mean, Volk could pull off the win. But if you're consistently betting against these older guys in these title fights, you're making money long term.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Lopez will look like the bigger guy for sure. He's 5'11". But then again, Volk is always the smaller guy in every fight that he's pretty much fighting in. Real quick, we got about 10 seconds or so. 3.5 over or under for Volk and Lopez.
That's a tough one for me. I'd probably lean towards the under.
Okay.
Because I think Volk could pull off the knockout as well. Grounded pound, he's got it in him.
Rohit Ponnaiya from Covers. Appreciate the time and the insight. Good luck with your bets tonight.
Thanks for having me on. Best of luck.
UFC 314 main event getting underway. It's Live Bet Saturday here on VSiN.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Live Bet Saturday, I'm Scott Seidenberg on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. My thanks to our previous guest, Rohit Ponnaiya from Covers, who joined us to talk about UFC 314, which the main card should be getting underway shortly. We're in the final fight of the prelims right now. Taking a look at some of the games that are in progress right now. What a scoreless game between the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs, 0-0 going into overtime. We are in overtime right now between the Blackhawks and the Jets at 4 apiece. High-scoring affair there between the Jets and the Blackhawks. And another high-scoring affair. Utah, a 4-3 lead over Dallas going to the second intermission. Still to come, we got 3 games on your schedule that will begin in about 15 minutes or so. And joining us to talk all things hockey, Dana Lane from Pick Dogs joins us on the Progressive guest line. Dana, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Bet Saturday. And taking a look at this slate for the games tonight, we have 2 teams in St. Louis and Minnesota playing with a little bit of playoff desperation. Right now, looking at the standings, both of them are tied at 93 points for the first and second wild cards in the Western Conference. Do you think we see that playoff desperation show up tonight on the ice?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, I certainly hope so. I mean, especially when it comes to Minnesota, because there's a lot of people that cover that team that have told me they're not happy with the way that they're backing in, presumably into the postseason if they do. And I think, when you're looking at John Hines' team, they had not won a regulation, or they have not had a regulation win in 8 straight games. And if they go into Calgary, and you said you were all over Calgary, which I was with you as well. But I just think this team is soft. I think their top 6 was non-existent in a game against the Flames that they needed to be superstars. And if they can't be superstars at this time of year, it is going to be a cakewalk for either Minnesota or either Winnipeg or Vegas in that first round of the postseason. I just don't think this team has the next level, the switch that they need to turn on to be a factor in the postseason if they get in.
Yeah, I agree with you, but how much are we, assessing Minnesota off of what we saw for the bulk of the season playing without their best players? Getting healthy now as they go into the postseason, I got to be honest, I don't think anybody would be comfortable playing against Minnesota if we're talking about, a healthy Kaprizov, and we're talking about this team at full strength, and we know Gustafsson on any given night can certainly pull one out of his hat.
Yeah, I mean, look, that first line is probably a line that's going to give a lot of people problems. I don't think at any point this year, and correct me if you feel differently, but even if you outside of that top line, if Kaprizov and Rossi at center and Zuccarello, outside of that, I think they were a one-line team. And I know that Boldy had a terrific year, probably going to be a 30-goal guy or maybe just get a little bit short of that. But as far as going into the postseason, I need teams where they're top 6. I can lean on them, and I just don't see that when I'm looking at Minnesota. I see a team that, look, you got Marcus Foligno as your second line winger, and Eriksson Ek as your second line center. I mean, I just don't see when you're up against Winnipeg or against Vegas where that's just going to play. I want to see, and I told you this in the break, tonight is a massive game for me. Mm-hmm. They have to come out and they have to win this game, because if they don't win this game, this is a gut check game for me. And I need to see. I know a guy that knows this team, like the back of his hand, and they need to show some soul. And I have not seen that out of Winnipeg. And again, if it gets into the postseason, I like their top 3. But when it gets into the playoffs, it is all about depth, and I just don't think Minnesota has it.
Yeah, I'm going to be on them tonight. Usually this would be a fade spot for me. It's the second night of a back-to-back. They're on the road, and I've been crushing all season just fading these teams in this spot. But it's not like it was bad travel from Cal, and I do think that you're right. The desperation has to show up tonight. I like the Wild to win. I like St. Louis to win in Seattle, and I actually like both games to go over the 5.5. What's your lean on the totals?
Yeah, I agree on that as well, especially when we get to this time of year, because when you're talking about desperation hockey, there's so much can happen at the end. I mean, we know most games are right around that 5 mark and 5.5 or 5 to 6 mark. So there's so much that can happen at the end with desperation hockey, of course, with the empty netters at the end. But as far as St. Louis is concerned, they're kind of in the same boat as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think I love the way that they've been playing. I didn't like the way that they've played the last couple of nights, but I will say this. I'm not as shy. Matter of fact, I'm more than happy to lay the puck line with them tonight, getting some good plus money with Blues. long winning streak, lost her last two games, and of course against Winnipeg and Edmonton, teams that you would say, okay, well, you lose against those teams, you would expect that. But the fact of the matter is, I think St. Louis still has a lot to prove to me as well. And listen, we go into the postseason, and I don't know how you handicap in the postseason, but what I want to see is I want to see depth, and I want to see teams that are playing well defensively. And that's what we saw last year with the Florida Panthers. They rode that all the way to the Stanley Cup because they were the best defensive team in hockey. That's why I think teams like Los Angeles is going to give whoever they play a fit, because I think they are rounding into form defensively, and those are the teams that I want to hang my hat on.
And we know that Darcy Kemper is the best goalie on the planet when he plays on home ice. So it's like the numbers are just absurd. By the way, in that Kraken game against St. Louis, it is Grubauer in net for Seattle, which is almost always an auto over for me with a guy that has nearly a 4 goals against average in Philip Grubauer. Let's talk about the other game that is here in town. The Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Nashville Predators. Nashville, one of the worst road teams in hockey this year, just 10 road wins in regulation for the Predators. Meanwhile, Vegas, we know they have a tremendous home ice advantage here in the Fortress. Not much to play for. Like, yes, LA can still catch them. But if Vegas just gets points, they don't have to win these games. Go into overtime, just get a point. You're up 4 points with 3 games left. You should be able to lock in the 1 seed here. That being said, I can only look at Vegas in this spot.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you not only look at Vegas, you look at them on the puck line as well. I think they have to win tonight in regulation, then they would clinch the division. But it don't get so carried away with what we just saw from Nashville. I know it's going to be an emotional night. I know Mark Marchessault's coming back to the Fortress. I know Alec Martinez just announced his retirement, but. The bad news for Nashville is, even though they're coming in on a 2-game win streak, is number one, they needed 11 goals to beat the Islanders and Utah. The Islanders are 25th in goal scores, and Utah is 23rd. They gave up 9 in those games. So they scored 11. They gave up 9 against 2 of the worst offensive teams in hockey. And now they're playing against one of the best power plays in the National Hockey League, even though Eichel and Pietrangelo is going to be out tonight. And they're also playing against one of the top 5-on-5 teams. Now, Nashville is a team that generates a lot of shots on net, but if you watch them, they're very perimeter-oriented. They're not a team that's going to get a lot of greasy goals down low. And I just think when you have an advantage 5-on-5, you have an advantage in special teams, and you definitely have an advantage in goal. Vegas is absolutely the side here, and the only way you lose this is if Nashville does something that's uncharacteristic, and in Vegas it plays uncharacteristic. But this is we talk about teams that are peaking at the right time. Vegas is absolutely peaking defensively at the right time, and I think that they win this game I think it's going to be 4-1, 5-1. They're clearly the better of the 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds chalky here, but I do like the Knights. I like all 3 favorites to win. As far as the total, the total is getting pushed up to 6 here between Vegas and Nashville. I leaned at 5.5. It would be an overplay for me at 6. I don't know if I love it as much, but it could be maybe just go Vegas on the puck line here and get your reduced VIG there and just go Vegas on the puck line and then take the other 2 favorites as well. So it's chalky. I'm sure the public loves it because, hey, it worked during the NFL season. It worked during the NCAA tournament. So why can't it work for us on the ice tonight?
Well, it works during the postseason, too, because there's no better play in the NHL postseason than road favorites, and we'll get into that pretty soon.
Dana, appreciate the time and the insight. Good luck with your bets tonight.
You too. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
There he is, Dana Lane, handicapper there from Pick Dogs, talking a little NHL with us here on Live Bet Saturday. Don't forget, you can unlock your winning edge with an unbeatable offer. Get full VSiN Pro access to everything we do from now through August 1st for just $59. If you sign up now, that is 50% off the regular monthly price. And by signing up, you're going to get your daily email recapping all the best bets from the hosts and the guests, the betting splits, the exclusive betting splits from both DraftKings and Circa Sportsbooks, 24/7 video access with the VSiN Watch app, and you get full VSiN.com access. Every sport, every edge, one low price. Don't wait. Get full access through August 1st for just $59 at vsin.com/subscribe. VSIN.com/subscribe. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Live Bet Saturday right here on VSiN.